Good morning, everybody. Good morning, YouTube. Good morning, Live Me. Good morning, everybody. Salutations, Arrow. Salutations, Problem Repeater. You don't want to repeat problems. You want to extinguish them. Nip them in the bud. That's what I say. Hello, Cruiser. Hello, Angel. Good morning, YouTube. Good to see everybody. Welcome to Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. As soon as we get 30 people over on the Live Me, we will go ahead and get started. What's up, Joe? Oh, caramel Pop-Tart. God, that sounds delicious. I'm getting so hungry just thinking about this. Guys, I have been up for a while, and I got a story to tell about it. As soon as the show kicks in, I got a story to tell you guys about my morning. But first, I'm going to have a sip of coffee from my cat dad mug. Because as you guys know, I am a cat dad. Can you play Going Long by Rob Green? No, I can't. Sorry. Don't know it. Never even heard that song. But plus, I can't play any covers at all because I am on the YouTube, and you can't play covers on YouTube. So I know that when I was on just the Live Me, I could play the covers, but I'm on the YouTubes now. So I can't do the covers. That's how that rolls. All right, guys, so far we have 22 on Live Me and 19 on YouTube. So it's neck and neck, you guys. Who's going to come out on top? Who is going to come out on top? 24 now. We're almost up to that 30. We're almost up to that 30. Oh, you guys have some interesting it's not 10 a.m. quite yet. Joe pointed out we're a little early today. And the reason we're a little early today is because I got to end a little bit early today, which I'll tell you guys about that too. It's a good thing. It's an exciting thing. Infamous, thank you so much. And you won 10 experience points. Thank you so much for the magic wand, Infamous. Marcus, what's up? We are at 29. Oh, snap. The show has almost begun. The show has almost begun. Derek, I never get a notice for this live stream. I know. YouTube's been really messing up with that. The good rule of thumb, we do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Greetings, Marcus. Hello, comrade. Good to see you. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We got 33 over on the Live Me, and it is exactly 10 a.m. So, man, we are starting right on time. Get your news on, Ron. I want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on, Ron. I want to know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Yeah. Tweet an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get some news on with Ron. I want to know what's going on. Get our news on today. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means you guys tweet me articles at Ron Placone. We go through them together, and that's how we build the show. The other way you can get me articles, you can post them on our Reddit. Our Reddit subsection is just reddit.r/GetYourNewsOnWithRon. Guys, I have been up since 5 a.m. Wow. I was up at 5 a.m. because I just did a taping with Peter Lavelle this morning for his TV show on RT Crosstalk. And they taped that show in the evening in Russia. That's where it is there. Over here, it's 7 a.m. At least I think that's the time zone difference. But, yeah, we shot it. So, man, I've been up, so I'm wired on caffeine. And I got to say this. I was in the green room waiting for the show to start. Wait, comedians have 2 5 o'clocks? Not usually. Not usually, Jesse. I usually do not wake up early. But I had to for today. And I got to tell you guys this story. I was in the green room and I was waiting for the show to start, waiting to go into my booth or whatever. And CNN was on. All right. CNN was on. And I got to say, for everybody that says Trump just wanted to make the White House a reality television show, if that's the truth, Trump's in luck because they did it for him already. I did my master's degree in media policy. All right. So I have written over 100 pages of academic work on how and why our media structure is flawed and how it is failing. I work for a show that we only exist, including this show too, the Jimmy Dore show and this show and any other show I contribute to pretty much. We only exist because the corporate media is failing so hard. And we spend most of our times exposing how they're failing so hard. That's who I am. Why I'm saying all this is because when it comes to the corporate media, my expectations are beneath the floor. My expectations are on a bar beneath the floor in the sewer. That is the standard I hold them to, and I expect nothing more, and I even expect less. All that being said, watching CNN in that green room, they have surpassed even my expectations. Same goes for Fox News and MSNBC. They are even shittier than I could have ever imagined. They are completely, it is completely one-dimensional. All they talked about was bickering within the White House and Russia. And they spend over 80% of their time doing that. I literally could not have imagined it being this terrible. If someone said, okay, Trump's going to be president, this is what's going on. If someone said that to me in January and they were like, talk about what you think the corporate media is going to be like, I would probably describe something similar to what's going on. But honestly, my expectations were surpassed. I would not have guessed it would be this awful. It's unreal. I was watching it and I was like, how do people think they're informed? That's what people from other countries, when they come over here and they see our news, they're like, seriously? You've got to be kidding me. Like, you're kidding, right? This is your news. Like, they're floored by it. And these are general people. These are just general, like if you have family over in Europe or anywhere, bring them and just be like, this is and like within a couple minutes, they're going to be like, this is a joke, right? Like, it's in other countries have problems with their media. Don't get me wrong. They're not perfect, but holy, like, it's unbelievable. And it's to the point where even my bar, I have the lowest expectation. And I think compared to the average person, my expectation from our media is so much lower. And even my bar has been surpassed in how awful it is. Rachel Maddow's obsessive Russia talk at the end of 2016 was a sign, Joe points out. That's true. Big business is making America the world's enemy for profit. That's very true, too. Yeah, oh, man. In the few minutes I was watching it, ugh. All right, you guys are already sending articles. We're gonna get to it. We're gonna start rocking it in the free world, if you will. And we got to end a little early today because Cody, congratulations, you won some experience points. Thank you very much for the sunny face. Good to see you, my man. Bold Touch wants to know, if you could live anywhere, where would you live? You got to be a little more specific. Is it sensitive to work? Or is it just I have all the money I want and can do whatever I want and can live wherever? Because my answer is different depending on those circumstances. Forever Voting Third Party picks Denmark. Because of business, I would pick right here in Los Angeles. But if business isn't a factor, like maybe I win the lottery or something and I can just live wherever I want because I'm rich and can go, back and forth whenever I need to wherever. I would probably pick. Where would I pick? I'd probably pick like Italy. I'd pick Italy, like right on the coast there, like Cinque Terre or something like that. Or I'd pick where else? Vancouver would be up there for me. Berlin. Yeah, those would all be up there for me. And honestly, I'd consider just staying right here in Los Angeles. I mean, if I was rich, if money wasn't a factor, you know, like if you're super rich, south of France, that's a good pick. Belgium, I'd consider Belgium. I don't know. Like a lot of people, they say like an island, like they say like some random island or something like that. And man, I think I'd get cabin fever so quick. Like I think Jesse picks New Zealand. I don't know if I could do that. If I lived in a place like Hawaii or something like that, I think I'm sure it'd be beautiful and amazing. Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii, but you know, everyone I know that's been says it's beautiful and amazing. But I think I would I would get cabin fever real quick. I would feel like kind of restrained, and I think it would just weird me out a little bit. I don't know. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But anyway, that's just kind of where I'm at. All right, you guys are sending articles. We got off on a ramble there. And we're all making Joe's life more difficult right now. That's what we're doing. We're making Joe's job more difficult later. So let's try to reel it in, guys. Let's reel it in. Couple more chats before we get to the first story. And let me give Mick Resistor our first article of the day. Get Your News On with Ron retweet. DC points out that I'm not wrong. I would have island fever in no time. And I do know that DC used to live in Hawaii. So he's speaking from experience. But let's see here. Few chats I want to get to before we move on. Let's see. Never get a notice for the live stream. Nancy Pelosi just endorsed a pro-life Democratic candidate. Please tweet me an article about that, Derek, and we'll talk about it. Or we can just Google it. Howdy, howdy, Reefer Revolutionaries. DC says, I like that. Reefer Revolutionaries. A lot of R's. Love it. Mainstream media, Oscar says, has become gossip news of the political world. Yeah, and that's being generous. Lux Monkey says, cool watching Ron rant and ramble, but I think Ajit Pai is handling his streaming. I guess that means we're throttling a little bit. All right. Mr. Hillary Clinton says, I say this as a former Secretary of State and as an American, the Russians are still coming. Our intelligence professionals are employing Trump to act. Yeah, I know Hillary's been tweeting about all that. Yeah, I saw that tweet as well. And she talked about how we need to talk about interference in our elections, and we need to talk about the effects of social media on our elections. This is being said, by the way, from a person who has unapologetically made her own troll farm. What do you think correct the record is? It's a troll farm. That is definitionally what it is. It is a troll farm for her. Their job, and I've been heckled by people on Correct the Record before. I'm sure a lot of people on this stream have as well. Their job is to it's not correcting false information about Hillary Clinton. It's not like somebody posts a fact like, oh, she was all for the Iraq war. No, she was just kind of for it. Like, it's not even that. It's that if you say anything about Hillary Clinton, they would troll you. That was their job. She had a troll farm. That's what she had, a troll farm. And she's complaining about, social media, it's influential, and we got to be careful with it, says the person who had a literal propaganda team. Oh, and by the way, afterwards, her cult members started a failed media outlet. The controversy over Levi Sanders, I think it's Levy, by the way. The controversy over Levi Sanders, Bernie's son, now running for Congress, explained. This is from Vox. He just announced he's running, but he's already making enemies. If somebody says that about somebody in politics, like just that headline, like I know nothing about the candidate. I don't know if they're left, right, center, bought, not bought. I don't know anything else. They just say they just started running and they're already making enemies. I would want to hear what that person has to say. Like if I saw that in the media, my first assumption would be that's likely a good thing. Like that's likely a good thing that they're making enemies. That's probably because when the corporate media says it, when they say they're making enemies, usually that's going to be code for they're not making our donors happy. So I want to hear what this person has to say. But anyway, 2 years ago, Bernie wasn't heading a political dynasty. Indeed, his presidential campaign against Hillary Clinton picked up steam. That was 2016. This is 2018. Now, two separate Sanders relations are running for office. Bernie's stepdaughter is in the race for Burlington mayor. and Bernie himself, or a position Bernie himself had for a while. Okay, Levy, Bernie's son by ex-girlfriend Susan Campbell Mott, has entered the congressional race for New Hampshire's 1st District. The seat, which is being vacated by incumbent Democrat Carol Shea Porter and is rated as a toss-up, was attracting high-profile candidates with both parties. Now Levy, which they actually say the pronunciation here, it is Levy, is set to offer a populist alternative. Almost as soon as he announced his campaign, critics began digging up old tweets of his that are likely to complicate, if not entirely derail, his run. Okay, the younger Sanders is not a fan of identity politics, thinks that criticisms of white privilege are ill-advised and turn off working-class voters, says he doubts the working class would care if Donald Trump were caught on camera calling people the N-word, worries that eliminating the Confederate flag license plates means hurts people's rights, and you saw this one coming a mile away, has expressed exhaustion over Chelsea Clinton's continued presence. So, again, I'd be curious to know the context of all this. I'd be curious to know the context of all this. So here are some of the tweets. He says that Joy-Ann Reid engages in identity politics and alienates so many who are low income and working class. That's true. How is that? I mean, that is 110% true. That is exactly what Joy-Ann Reid does. I mean, how is that a criticism of him? He's making an observation about somebody's show that is very much true. Joy-Ann Reid has done a 180 from 2008 till now. And that's all she talks about, are identity politics. She doesn't talk about policy. She, if you disagree with Hillary, you're sexist. Doesn't matter what your positions are. Doesn't matter. You're sexist. Even if you're a woman, you're still sexist, according to her. That's an observation about her show. That's a criticism of her show. She has a huge show on MSNBC. What's wrong with criticizing it? She engages in identity politics and alienates so many who are low income and working class. That is a subjective statement, the first part. The second part can probably be proven. I'd imagine if you did polls in working class areas and stuff like that, and amidst low income people, a lot of them are not tuning into cable news, and reasonably so. So, all right. So that first one is nonsense. All right. Stop using this white privilege garbage. Okay, this is another tweet from him. The article here is from Rolling Stone. Watch Shailene Woodley's Standing Rock plea to President Obama. I ask and pray that the Obama administration will stop the Dakota Access Pipeline, says Divergent star Shailene Woodley. And what he says here, his tweet is, stop using this white privilege garbage. The white working class is getting crushed economically. Okay, again, he's talking about a specific article. So if he's saying that the idea of white privilege is totally garbage, that's a ridiculous claim to make. And I think that he's wrong in saying that. I disagree with that set completely. And I don't know many people that wouldn't. But again, he's tweeting this within the context of the article. So, we don't have time to go into this article itself because I want to move on, away from this story kind of soonish. But again, if you can't just highlight something someone said in the context of an article and then say it's their platform as a whole. You know what I mean? Like say there's an article that made some ridiculous claims about white privilege that really have nothing to do with white privilege one way or another. And you say, wow, this white privilege claim is garbage. You're referring to that specific article. You're not referring to the concept as a whole. You guys see the difference, right? Yes, Ron, we do. We have critical thinking skills that exceed that of a 7-year-old. I know. I'm just saying. So again, these tweets are in context of articles he's critiquing. And this article is making these pronunciations as a whole. What if somebody wrote an article about single-payer healthcare that completely misrepresented single-payer healthcare, and I said, man, this single-payer healthcare article is garbage, Am I saying single payer is garbage? No, I'm saying an article that lied about it is. You know what I mean? All right, again, Ron, the second example wasn't necessary. Again, we have critical thinking skills that exceed that of a 6-year-old. Yeah, we get it. Okay. All right, so let's see if any of these tweets actually are valid critiques. Because right now it looks like, and maybe Levy does hold some overall views that I don't agree with. I'm sure he does. But if you're just going to handpick these tweets that are in the context of articles he's talking about, that's not really to me, that's not an accurate analysis of anybody. Regardless of it's Levy, Sanders, Levy, did I get it right? Levy, Sanders, or anyone else? Levy, yeah. I don't know why I'm like so. Producer, there's video of Trump saying the N-word. Okay, so that's the article. I assure you most working class families don't care about this issue. Again, this is in context of the article itself. Okay, so are any of these tweets, all of these tweets are in reference to a particular article. And here's the one. He's expressing weariness towards Chelsea Clinton. You know who expresses wariness towards Chelsea Clinton? Most of the freaking country. Male, female, the list goes on and on. A lot of people of all different backgrounds, different races, different religions, different political ideologies. Wariness of the Clintons is very common. That's why she's not president. That's why Hillary lost. So this article is pretty weak. These critiques of Levy are all based on tweets, and according to this article, these tweets could ruin it for him. I guess if you don't actually read what people are referring to and just go on the surface level, yeah, that's a pretty weak job. And by the way, Mick Resistor says Vox already out with a hit piece job on Levy Sanders. So that was what they were going for. And yeah, for anyone that doesn't if anyone just reads the headlines and doesn't actually read underneath the surface, yeah, this is certainly a hit piece. And it could certainly hurt Levy if people don't read between the lines. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't. So yeah, that was a smear piece. That was a good example of a smear piece. And we see why. Is this saying that Levy Sanders is perfect? No, he's not. I'm sure he's not. I'm sure there's things I disagree with him about. I disagreed with him about his analysis of convergence. I disagreed with him on that. I was there. I wish Bernie would have went third party. I wish Bernie would have started a party. I really wish that for a number of reasons. We don't have time to get into all that now. For a number of reasons. But, you know, this article is a hit piece. It's very, very incomplete. They're taking tweets and they're not acknowledging that those tweets were in the context of an article he was sharing. That's very dishonest. Any journalism person that is worth their salt at all knows that. So this was done intentionally. This was a smear propaganda piece that Vox just put out. All right. Now that we know that, let's move on to something else. This is from Uppity Bumpkin. And it looks like this is some lighter news here. Putin boasts of new Russian nuclear weapons. Sarcasm slide about that light news part. Russia has tested an array of new strategic nuclear weapons that can't be intercepted, President Vladimir Putin declared Thursday, claiming a technological breakthrough that could dramatically increase Russia's military capability, boost the Kremlin's global position, and also raise Western concerns about a potential renewed arms race in the 21st century. Gee, I guess maybe we shouldn't antagonize them every second we get. Maybe that arms race could be diminished if we weren't having a new Red Scare going on here in the United States. Just a crazy radical thought. And there's a computer video showing the drone being launched by a submarine, cruising over the seabed, hitting an aircraft carrier, and also exploding near the shore. Now, what we do not have confirmed is whether or not Brian Williams masturbated to said video. I give it a 50-50. Thank you for sharing. I will give it a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. So Russia's developing. Yeah, there you go. Russia's developing nukes. And, you know, we're embarking in a new Red Scare. And that certainly can't help as far as not wanting World War III to happen. All right. Sorry, you guys, we got a couple things going. And I want to make sure we get to, some of you guys tweeted the same stuff. So I got to kind of filter this. All right, this is from Jesse. U.S. civil rights groups decry anti-Muslim bill in Idaho. A spat of bills and state legislators across the United States have been decried by civil rights groups as Islamophobic. Most recently, the Council on American Islamic Relations, Washington, D.C. based Muslim civil rights group, has called on Idaho's Senate to vote against a bill recently passed by the state's House that seeks to ban the implementation of foreign law in the state. According to CARE, the bill, known as HB 419, targets Muslims and fits into a long pattern of unconstitutional bills that demonize Muslims by barring Sharia or Islamic law. HB 419 was passed by the House at a time when similar bills are being considered in several U.S. states, including Montana, Oregon, and Wisconsin. Oregon, that's all right. That's a little surprising, I guess. In an open letter, chairman of the Senate State Affairs Committee, CARE's Government Affairs Director, Robert McCall, described HB 419 as a contrary to our nation's values of not elevating or marginalizing one faith or community. Legislation designed and adopted to attack a specific religion is a clear violation of the U.S. Constitution's Establishment Clause, which requires that government be secular and treat all religions equally. It is impossible to mask the anti-Muslim discriminatory intent behind this bill. So, yeah. I mean, absolutely. And whenever people talk about religious liberty in the United States, they're typically referring to Christianity. That's just the reality. I mean, it's you know, this bill is certainly Islamophobic, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens both in Idaho and in the other states that they're going after it. And yeah, because it seems like, I mean, if there was ever any type of legislation, you know, that was seen in any way as discriminatory towards Christianity, people are screaming at the rafters about it. But Islamophobic, whatever. So it's very interesting. And we don't actually have the separation of church and state in this country. It's not something we actually have. I wish we did, but we do not. Jesse points out that they're still mad I can marry my girlfriend. That's true. New Zealand teenager tried to kill Queen Elizabeth in 1981. Okay, this story's from today. A teenager tried to kill Queen Elizabeth II during a visit to New Zealand in 1981. Declassified official documents confirmed. Christopher Lewis fired a shot as the Queen toured the city of Dunedin, New Zealand. Security Intelligence Services said. Police had said at the time that the gunshot sound had been caused by a sign falling over. A former police officer and local media have suggested a cover-up took place. Whoa. So for a while, they thought that this was just a thing falling down. Meanwhile, it was this person that shot at the Queen in New Zealand. And these declassified documents confirmed that. That's trippy. This hit the news today. So I guess this is something that, and somebody tweeted that because we were talking about New Zealand. That's, wow. That's trippy. Was that a bullet? No, it was just a sign falling out over. Shut up. Go back to sleep. Nuts. I guess we'll see what happens with this. This is from Edwin. California ranks last in quality of life in new report. Here's a nugget that won't make the welcome pamphlet. California has the worst quality of life in America. At least that's what the U.S. News and World Report's most recent best states rankings say. The Golden State, ranked 50th in quality of life by faring poorly in the natural and social environment categories. California ranked last in urban air quality and 45th in low pollution health risks. Although it was 13th in drinking water quality, the state also found itself second to last in voter participation, 44th in community engagement, and 38th in social support. Despite its beaches, redwood trees, and Hollywood glam, the state's blemishes are often highlighted. Los Angeles leads as the world's most traffic congested urban areas, and even its own citizens have tried to succeed multiple times. That's a weird sentence to include in that article, because the reason that California wants to succeed is because they don't want to put up with the rest of the United States. They want, like generally, I mean, I guess everyone has their different reasons, but generally the reason California wants to succeed is because, we're tired of, like, California is the 6th largest economy in the world. And, like that ends up being that ends up kind of burdening the rest of the country in some ways. That's why some Californians think secession would be a good idea. It's not because we don't like our quality of life. So that's a weird, what I'm saying is that's a weird sentence. I don't want this to turn into a discussion about secession, because that's a very long discussion for a different day. But it's weird that that's in the article. At least that's my reading of it. But yeah, all right. Interesting observation, USA Today. I don't take these analysis all that seriously. I really don't. I think a lot of times they just are sort of looking for a headline. So they give a city that has a big inferiority complex, like, some compliments, and they do the mental gymnastics necessary to say, like, oh, this is a great place. And I hate to bash my home, but, or where I'm from, rather. It's not my home. Here's my home. Los Angeles is my home. But I'm from Pittsburgh originally, and there was this big thing a couple years back that Pittsburgh was the most livable city in the country. And I'm sorry, that is not true. I don't know what they were basing that off of, but there is no way in hell that's true. Like, I mean, when you look at food's really expensive there because they have a grocery monopoly pretty much. Traffic for a city its size, traffic is especially terrible. It's the weather's atrocious. I mean, you get about 20 days of sunlight a year, literally. The weather is atrocious there. Now, on the other side, it has a lot of culture for the type of city it is and the size of it. You can pretty much find anything you need there, despite it not being a huge city. It's affordable as hell, and it's got some really awesome neighborhoods, and it's a great eating town. So, yeah, I mean, it's a great, like, it's not a bad place. I'm just saying, like, the most livable. How do you even determine that? Like, what does that even mean? My point is, and I'm not trying to single out, different things were said about Nashville where I was like, really? And I love Nashville. And, yeah, the traffic in Los Angeles sucks. The cost of living sucks. You also have a lot of resources available to you that aren't found in many other places in the world, not just in the country, in the freaking world. It's also sunny almost every day. We are having a cold front right now, which I'm not a fan of. You guys have heard me talk about that. I'm not going to reiterate it. San Francisco, one of the coolest cultural meccas in the world. It's also incredibly crowded and so grossly overpriced because it's being overtaken by Silicon Valley. And it's getting ridiculous there. I mean, the cost of living, I mean, they're kicking the creative class out of that entire area. But it's still an amazing place. So, Kimmy lives in San Francisco. She says that it's not worth it. That's her take on it. My sister lives in San Francisco. She says it is. She doesn't want to live there forever. But right now, she's pretty happy, even though she does pay out the wazoo in rent. So it's all about perspective. I don't take surveys like this all that seriously. Although our air quality is a serious freaking issue here in Los Angeles. So yeah. And I do agree with you, Kimmy. San Francisco, excuse me, is a great place to visit. San Diego too, but I like San Francisco a lot better as a city. And I do like the fact that when I visit there, I can just crash with my sister for free, and she has to handle the rent. All right, this is from Paul. Let me get Paul a Get Your News On with Ron retweet. And we are moving fast, you guys. Also, I got the request. You guys requested the Revolution song. I will close with the Revolution song. No problem. And let's do this, and then I'll get to some of your guys' chats. Ben Carson cancels order for 31,000 dining set amid ethics controversy. Ben Carson, who I don't think he's ever really awake. I don't know if Ben Carson is ever. I'm looking at a picture of him right now. I don't think he's fully awake in this photo. This is just sort of how he always is. So, and he talks, and then they say his name, and he just stands there. He doesn't hear his name. He's like, is that my name? Maybe he was actually asleep. I don't know. Kimmy thinks that he's high. No, he'd have more interesting shit to say if he was high. And all of his policy ideas are, I mean, I guess some of the stuff he's come up with, you think, well, maybe he's high, but no, I think he'd be more compassionate though if he was high. All right, so Ben Carson cancels his order for the 31,000 dining set amid ethics controversy. Ben Carson, the U.S. Secretary for Housing and Urban Development, has scrapped an order for a $31,000 dining set for his Washington office amid a growing ethics controversy. What kind of dining set? Joe points out that Ben only wakes up when he remembers his luggage. The Republican-controlled House told Carson on Wednesday to turn over all documentation relating to the reassignment of Helen Foster, who moved from her job as chief administrative officer last year following a series of disagreements. Foster alleged to a whistleblower protection watchdog that she lost her job partly as retaliation for her refusal last year to find a way to exceed $5,000 in spending on improvements to Carson's office. So it's one of those, we got to spend all this money or we're not going to get as much next time. Saki points out it's not brain surgery. Oh, wait. Ha! Carson's department also signed a contract last year to spend $165,000 on lounge furniture, excuse me. Your tax dollars at work, everybody. We are spending about $200,000 to give Sleep Sack Magoo lounge furniture so he can be Sleep Sack Magoo there, and on a dining set so he can eat more turkey so he can be more tired. Turkey makes you tired. Ben Carson is like, he is like a dude that just had a turkey meal. Like that is his permanent state. He's like, I just had a turkey meal and I'm sleepy. I'm drinking a sip of coffee. Ben Carson looks like he should always be doing the same. He looks so sleepy. He dreams about bigger numbers of spending that he can have. He you know how some people count sheep? Ben Carson counts zeros in the budget that he wants to have to spend money on more stuff that he does not need and we don't. And yeah, it's gross. All right, let's go to the chat. Here we go. The Progressive Soapbox got his live stream taken down because he was talking about Russia, then the shooting. Conspiracy. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look into that. I'm not familiar with that channel at all. The establishment is the problem. Anyone not saying this is distracting from it. Brian says the tactic is to divide and conquer, get us to destroy our own country, to only see our differences when as human beings we have almost everything important in common. Okay, let's see. Electoral College makes voting in national elections useless for California most of the time. The Electoral College does that everywhere, not just in California. Russiagate was the false flag for censorship. Yeah, that's a good analysis, Chris. They stopped exit polls during the primary because they were showing the election fraud that was occurring. Don't worry, Ron. Rachel says, if it makes you feel better, we here in Michigan are getting ourselves a new cold front. It's snowing today when it hasn't for about 2 weeks. Well, Rachel, stay safe in the snow and give Michigan my love. Whenever Jimmy Carter thinks independent observers should monitor our election, maybe it's something to look into. Steven says, yeah, that'd be interesting. How does Ben Carson keep from drooling in public? There must be a pill, John says. John, I don't know. Maybe there is, but if there is, Joe Kennedy should have gotten himself one before that shitty State of the Union address. Don't say the word. Okay. Even just the words. Well, that's really Orwellian. That is very, very Orwellian. Yeah, that's scary. Like, they're not even giving you context. All right. Let's move on to new articles. And other things. Someone sent me something about that Nancy Pelosi thing. I'm curious to see that. Here's something interesting. This is over on the Reddit. So The Guardian puts this out. The world's first plastic-free aisle opens in a Netherlands supermarket. Campaigners hail progress as Amsterdam store offers dedicated aisle of more than 700 products with plans for a national rollout. Shoppers in the Netherlands will get the chance to visit Europe's first plastic-free supermarket aisle on Wednesday in what campaigners claim is a turning point in the war on plastic pollution. The store in Amsterdam will open its doors at 11 a.m. when shoppers will be able to choose from more than 700 plastic-free products, all available in one aisle. That is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And it looks like they sell a bunch of different stuff. Here we go. Meat, rice, sauces, dairy, chocolate, cereals, yogurt, snacks, fresh fruit, and vegetables. So you can get your produce, you can get your meat, you can get your dairy, you can get your carbs, you can get chocolate, cereals, yogurt, snacks. You might be able to do all your shopping in that one article, or in that one, I said article, God, in that one aisle, which would be so cool. Not only are you doing something for plastic pollution, which is great, but more importantly, bring your own glassware. That'd be awesome. You know what's cool? Blooming Goblin said, bring your own glassware. There's a bunch of food trucks on the campus where my mom works, and the guy, because one of the Indian restaurant food trucks that she likes to go to, that I used to go to with her as a kid, he used to do a thing where if you brought your own renewable container, he would give you a discount on your meal. Because it saved him, a little bit of bread, right? Not having to give you a thing, but also because he was a pretty environmentally conscious dude. That would and he would travel around the world doing some environmental work when he had the time to do it. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, not only is that really cool for the environment, but also for people that do not like grocery shopping and find the whole process annoying and tedious, i.e. yours truly, being able to do everything in one aisle would be freaking amazing. I would pay higher price. I wouldn't care if they're like, well, it's cheaper than the other. I don't give a shit. Some things are worth it. I'm paying for the convenience. So I guess I'm going to have to move to the Netherlands. Earlier, somebody was asking me, if you could live anywhere, where would it be? I guess now Netherlands, or they got to open one of these plastic-free aisles here in Los Angeles. I will send a letter to my city council immediately. Thank you for sharing this. This is some cool news. I like it. All right. Then let's go back to the Reddit. Here's a not as cool news. This is over from NPR, Nice Polite Republicans. Florida lawmakers advance bill requiring schools to display "In God We Trust." State legislators in Florida came together on Wednesday, the same day student activists gathered outside the House chamber in Tallahassee to demand stricter gun laws, to pass a measure related to schools, but not guns. HB 839 would require every public school in Florida to display in a conspicuous place the state motto, "In God We Trust." Because, why not bring religion into public schools when there's a problem with shootings? Because, after all, religion has never caused violence before. When I think of entities that really lead to total peace, I think organized religion. Get on the sarcasm slide again, everybody. That's what's missing. If they just have that emblem, in God we trust, somebody would walk into a school with a gun and they'd see that and they'd be like, oh, I forgot. I haven't seen a dollar bill recently. I forgot, in God I'm sorry. I'm just not going to do it. Unreal. Way to go, Florida. That's good priorities. Good priorities, Florida. That's very intense. Just like the other great priority Florida had. The other great priority. Let's spend $67 million to arm teachers and other officials in schools the same day that in Georgia, some deranged teacher fired a gun in a classroom. Beautiful. Freaking beautiful. Buster Peak, thank you very much for your super chat donations. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. Also, Austin says, NPR, nice, polite Republicans nailed it, Ron. Thank you, Austin. And Buster, who again, thank you for your super chat donation. Buster wants to know, why aren't we holding debates on TYT between progressive candidates in California, Wisconsin, and elsewhere? They create enthusiasm, and the airing of progressive ideas will only help grow support. Get it done. Buster, you're asking the wrong guy. I have no say in TYT's programming. I have no say on when I get to be on any of their shows. If I did, I'd want to be on more often, quite frankly, but I don't have any say in that. I go on when they call me, and I have no say what debates they do or don't have. So I'll relay the message, but yeah, wrong guy. I do think that's a cool idea. I like your idea. Convo Couch agrees. It's a great idea. But yeah, I got no power in helping to make that happen for you, buddy. Sorry. Sake says, Jimmy, Steph, and Ron for debate moderators 2020. I'd have a feeling we would just be too eager to get involved, and we would make shitty moderators. I feel like we'd do a bad job at moderating. Where did that $67 million come from? We don't have money for education, Marcus points out. Well, they want to spend $67 million on it. Sake says he wants disorganized religion. Kimmy says, I want bad religion. Yeah. One of my favorite bands. And there's a guy I really want. Man, oh, I got a Pasta. If you're watching, well, Pasta's supposed to, he's moderating the chat. But Pasta also books the guests for the show. Pasta, I want you to try to get Greg Graffin on the show. He's the singer for Bad Religion. That'd be a really fun guy to get on the show. I got to give you a wish list. Yeah, I got to give you a wish list. So anyway, yeah. Me too. I've never seen them. I miss them every time, Kimmy points out. I have seen Bad Religion once. Greg Graffin, Pasta. Here, I'll text it back to you. Greg Graffin. I've seen Bad Religion once and only once. I keep missing them too. And in the time I saw them, it was like at the Warped Tour. It wasn't even like an ideal way to see them. So yeah, it was still freaking great. But yeah, I really gotta see Bad Religion in a better light. Love Bad Religion. Let's see here. This is from Edwin. And guys, if you haven't, actually, you know what? Feel free to send a few more tweets. Or actually, you know what? We'll Google the Nancy Pelosi thing. We'll just go ahead and Google that. Some of you guys brought it up. A couple of people brought it up in the live me chat. And I don't see an article, but it might have been sent to me and it just got lost in my timeline, which is totally possible. So we're going to go to this article that Edwin sent. And then we're going to go to the Nancy Pelosi thing, and that's how we'll close. And Edwin says, let's get it done, Ron. Oh, this is a joke. Okay. Becoming a Dutch national. Edwin sends me directions on how to become a Dutch national. There are several ways to become a Dutch national automatically at birth, through paternity acknowledgement, or through the option procedure or naturalization. Thank you, Edwin. I appreciate it. All right, we'll go to something different. I didn't realize that wasn't like a news thing, but you did make me chuckle. I appreciate it. Let's go back to the Get Your News On with Ron. I am excited about this Netherlands supermarket thing. Oh, geez. Here's a shitty, depressing thing. Officer tells a homeless man, this happened in Vegas, baby, Vegas. I'm actually trying to book a show in Vegas, and I've had a hell of a time doing it. Officer tells homeless man to leave McDonald's after stranger pays for their meal. Well, this happened. This actually, Vegas is reporting this, but this happened in Myrtle Beach. So excuse me. A Facebook video filmed at a Myrtle Beach McDonald's shows a police officer telling a man to leave after a paying customer reportedly paid for his meal. This is going viral and sparking outrage. Yoso Gallo, the man who shot the video, said he got into an argument with the management at the McDonald's near downtown Myrtle Beach and a police officer after he tried to buy a homeless man food. I waved him down and I said, "Hey, are you hungry?" He said, "Yes." So I went in there with him, and as soon as we went inside, the lady at the register says, "You're not getting food." She tells him he's not getting food. Gallo says he couldn't believe what he was seeing, so he started recording the incident on his phone. McDonald's management didn't take too kindly to his yelling. "Hey, you guys suck. He didn't even ask me for food. I brought him from outside. You guys suck." McDonald's management didn't take too kindly. "Calm your voice. That's what I'm asking you to do. This is how I talk. I talk loud. If the officer has a problem with that, the officer is going to arrest me." So it seems like this kind of escalated. But that's really screwed up that somebody tries to do a nice deed and they're demonized as soon as they walk into a place. Now, it sounds like this guy got hostile a little fast, which maybe that sort of escalated things. I don't know. I'm just going by this transcript of the article. But either way, you can't just automatically be like, "You got to get out of here, go away," when it's like you're with somebody, and it's not like the guy was in the restaurant panhandling or something like that. If you do that, I understand why they need to ask you to leave an establishment when you do something like that. I understand that. I've been in restaurants before, especially here in Los Angeles, where somebody would go in and start asking members of the, like people that were sitting there eating to buy them stuff. I understand how when you have an establishment, you can't have that going on, and you need to ask that person to leave. And if they refuse to leave, you might need to get authority. I understand that. However, when they're with somebody, all right, my co-host is getting a little whiny. My co-host wants to get let out. However, when they're with somebody, that's ridiculous. Like, you can't just tell them they're not getting food. You can't just deny service to somebody when they're in there with someone. So Lucy hates social injustices, Kimmy points out. And also, Abdi points out that Italy removed a law that made stealing food a crime. That's interesting. I'm not familiar with that. I'll have to look into that. That's really cool. I love Italy. Hostile fast for someone for homeless. He lived with foot on neck. No, it wasn't the homeless person. And again, I'm just speculating here. I didn't see the video. But, it seems like the guy started saying, I brought him. It was the person that was helping the homeless person. It wasn't the homeless person. And again, I'm not saying he did or didn't. I'm saying it seems like he got kind of loud, kind of quick, which may or may not have escalated the situation. Anyway, so yeah, overall, that really sucks. Like, either way, that story really sucks. And it's a shame that you can't just do a nice deed for someone without them trying to kick you out. I mean, I guess they technically weren't trying to kick the guy out. They were kicking out the homeless person, but you're trying to do a nice deed for them. I mean, that's pretty sad. You know what they should have said? They should have said, "How can we help you?" And then after they ordered, they should have said something to the guy, "Hey, that's really nice that you did that." Or they could have said nothing at all. They could have said nothing at all, which also would have been totally fine. So that's really sad. Really sad. All right, let's Google the Nancy Pelosi thing, and then we are out of time, everybody. We got to end a little early. Nancy Pelosi endorses pro-lifer. All right, we'll Google that, see what it comes up. And this is from 7 hours ago. Pelosi confirms support for pro-life Congressman Dan Lipinski's re-election. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi said Thursday she supports pro-life Congressman Dan Lipinski's re-election bid. Dan Lipinski, do you support his re-election? A reporter asked Pelosi after she left the podium. Pelosi said, "Yes, I do." Her support comes days after the DCCC said that it would not endorse Lipinski, who is running for re-election in Illinois' 3rd Congressional District. He is facing Marie Newman, a marketing consultant who is pro-choice. The DCCC is aligning itself with Newman, who has received endorsements from abortion rights organizations like Emily's List. Why is this going on? Well, because the neoliberalism grasp is strong. That's why. That's why. I mean, I always hear. I mean, pretty much the only thing separating Republicans from Democrats is abortion and other social issues. And now even that, they're like, oh, there's compromise. Even that. In many ways, the Democratic establishment, when it comes to policy, the difference between them and Republicans is that A, they're not as hateful, at least not on paper, and B, they're cool with gay people and abortion rights. Now even that is being compromised. Now even that is not something, we avert racism, yeah. Though those are the only differences, and even those, they're on paper, It doesn't matter if you say I support DACA and then when it comes time to do something about it, you flake. It doesn't matter what you say. In fact, it does matter what you say. And in some ways, it's even worse because it's the bully analogy that I always love to give. What's worse? The bully that you know is a bully and you know isn't on your side, or the person that you think is your friend but stabs you in the back when they get the opportunity? Which is worse? Kimmy says the only thing separating a D from an R is 14 letters. Fair enough. So Nancy Pelosi has no problem supporting this person, probably because they're an establishment candidate. And a lot of times, different organizations who may or may not be well-intentioned, maybe they are, maybe they aren't, but they just kind of get behind whatever candidate because of the letter next to their name. And that's got to stop. That's got to stop. Because it leads to losing. And unions are finally getting away from that. Unions aren't just endorsing a candidate because of what they have next to their name anymore. They're endorsing them based on policy now. And different groups, especially like women's rights groups, they got to do the same. Planned Parenthood can't just give somebody an endorsement just because they're a Democrat. Whether that'll happen in practice, I don't know. But it'd be great if it did. Because, they gave Tim Kaine an endorsement, no questions asked. Tim Kaine, pro-life. A pro-lifer who couldn't beat Mike Pence in a debate. That's Tim Kaine. The worst VP pick, I would say, in the history of American politics. I would argue Tim Kaine was the worst VP pick in the history of American politics. And he's also just a disgusting individual. He totally sold out the Dreamers after being Tim, I speak Spanish, Kaine. He's too conservative for the Democratic Party. What more do you need to know? And maybe if these different groups wouldn't have just gotten behind him, lock and toe, hook, line, and sinker, maybe it would have forced Hillary Clinton to pick someone else. Somebody slightly less repulsive. Maybe she would have reached out to Bernie and we'd have a much different country right now. Who knows? Who knows? I mean, I'm just speculating here, but you never know. Couldn't beat Pence when Pence literally said and did nothing. Yep, true. All right. So, way to go, Nancy Pelosi. Way to go. Way to go. Guys, we are out of time. We got to end a little early today. And I told you guys I would say why. Because I'm a little excited and a little nervous. I have to go meet my new landlord and give a deposit for the apartment me and my girlfriend are moving into together. Looks like we got the place. I'm a little excited, a little nervous. And yeah, so that's going to be happening. And I'm going, as soon as I sign off here, I'm going to meet with the landlord to give them our applications and deposit. But guys, you requested the Revolution song. I will do that. A couple quick announcements first. Tomorrow, Delane Easton is going to be on the show. Who is Delane Easton? She's running for governor of California. I know some of you guys have said you already got questions. Get your questions ready. Also, Redneckonomics says, I'd love to see you interview Paula Jean Swearingen. Dig the show. Keep on keeping on. Thank you so much, Redneckonomics. And I would love to interview Paula Jean Swearingen. I think she's awesome. I really loved when we had her on the Jimmy Dore show. I really think she's got a shot. I like all the policies she's for. I like the way she presents herself. I'd love to see her pick off Joe Manchin. So, yeah, Pasta's going to try to get her. Thank you for the suggestion. That's a great one. Thank you. Guys, via request, here is the Revolution song. Are you in Los Angeles? Doing the same thing, expecting differences, and what it means to be insane. Have to choose between more and more, and not what it means to play the game. Why does it put you at ease to ignore this big scene? Why do you like to sit and pretend when you always know the end? Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. Go tell the DSA, GPNSA, it's time for revolution. Go if you are sick or you're wrong, it's not what it means to compromise. Some call it strength and rhetoric, I just call it telling lies. When you reach a point of crisis, the status quo it needs to change. And if you can't understand that truth, well, it's time to get out of the way. Go tell the BBC, go tell the CIA, it's time for revolution. Go tell the DSA, GPNSA, it's time for revolution. The wise man said that love's the answer. This fool knows that to be true. Some not ready to give up yet. Long as there's still a me and you. Don't tell the BBC, I'll tell the CIA. It's time for revolution. I'll tell the DSA, GPNSA. It's time for revolution. Get your news on the ground. Just wanna know what's going on. We're getting our news on today. Get your news on the ground. Just wanna know what's going on. Let's hope they don't start World War III. Tweet me an article at Placone. We'll go through it together and make it our own. Get your news on the ground. Just wanna know what's going on. Thank you so much. This is the Get Your News On with Ron. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone. That's where you can tweet me. This is Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. RonPlacone.com. I'm announcing dates every day. Patreon.com/Ron Placone if you are so able. Help me get some new equipment. Help me expand this show to 2 hours. Help me give better compensation to those that are helping me out. Patreon.com/Ron Placone. I love you all very much. We do this every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. and get your questions ready for Delaney Easton, who's running for governor of California. See you then. Peace.